Hello, Professor. My name is Parth, and with my friend Raghav Kapoor, and today I'm going to discuss the famous encoding decoding theories by Stuart Hall in this presentation. So, I have divided its whole presentation into the four parts. We will not directly the viewpoint of Mr. Hall, but the first see what theories was used by scholar when Stuart Hall presented these theories and what did he oppose in these previous theories. We will then grandly move forward to Underhill's theories and see some of his claims. Okay, so now my friend Raghav is going to explain you.
Hello, Professor. Why not start this presentation by a quote from Mr. Hall himself? Since I come from India, where English is now day by day becoming a more popular language than the native language itself, this quote represents what I feel. Before understanding the Hall's view of communication, let us first see what did scholars previous to him believed. The traditional model of communication moves in a linear fashion from the sender through the message to the receiver. According to this model, the sender creates the message and fixes its meaning, which is then communicated directly and transparently to the recipient. The traditional communication theory took the audience for granted. It considered the audience as passive, which was not right.
Okay, so now I'm going to explain what's the Hall's viewpoint on the theories. So now that we have seen scholar viewpoint of communication process, let us see how Stuart Hall saw communication process. The encoding decoding model of communication was first developed by a cultural studies scholar Stuart Halls in 1973. He discovered this model of communication in an essay entitled Encoding and Decoding in a Television Discourse. Hall's essay offers a theoretical approach of how media messages are processed and interpreted. His model claimed that TV and other media audience are presented with messages that are decoded or interpreted in a different way, depending on individual culture, background, economic standard, and personal experience. Basically, through his theory, Halls is interpreted in the way different audience generate rather than discover meaning. Hall's essay challenges all three components of the mass communication model, arguing that first, meaning is not simply fixed or determined by the sender. Second, the message is never transparent. Third, the audience is not a passive recipient of the message. Hall identify a complex structure involved in message production and its recipients. The tradition communication through took the audience for granted. It considered the audience as a passive, but the Stuart Hall brought to notice the action's role of audience by focusing upon the complex process of encoding and decoding. He said that the meaning is not a product of sender imagination, but the receiver background, his, her social experience, and a lot of other factors. Okay, now, okay. So now in his work, okay, so now in his work, there are four stages of communication. So in his work, Halls oppose four theories of communication, in which he's identify the following stage. The first one is the production, second is the circulation, third one is use consumptions, and the fourth is reproductions. Let us see all these stages in a detail. First one is the production. This is where the encoding of a message take place by drawing upon society's dominating ideology. The creature of the message is feeding off society beliefs and values. The second is circulation. The subtle manners in what a message is transmit, how things are circulated, influences how audience member will receive the message and put it to use. Now you can see like message is taken to the users. So this is a decoding interpreting of the message which require active recipient. This is a complex process of understanding for the audience. And after that we can say after use there will be a reproduction. So this is a stage after audience member has interpreted the message in their own way based on their own experience and beliefs. What is reactions after consuming the message in the stage of reproduction? Okay, so now here Halls identify three positions from where the audience reader might decode the message. Sorry. The first one is the dominant. The second is the negotiated, and the third is the optional. Okay, so this is the best example of decoding. Let us assume that today president announced that the tax rates are increasing from next month as the government is planning to utilize the fund in economic growth. So this encoding message will generate three types of audience and how they will decode this message. The first one is the dominant. This type of decoding will think that economic growth is necessary for a country and therefore it's a good step. The second one is the negotiated. This is type of decoding which think that economic growth is necessary for the country, but I do not want to pay more taxes. And in the third, we can see that this type of decoding which think that economic growth is not necessary and I will not pay more taxes. So therefore, we saw that how from the same message three different type of decoding is happening. Yes. So these are the references from my work. If you want to explore more, kindly refer to these sources. So thank you, Professor. This was our presentation on Stuart Hall decoding.